This is a 1967 Ford F-250, one of the most iconic pickup trucks in American history. And brand new, this thing went for $2,500, or in today's money, about $24,000. And this is a brand new F-250. This thing's got screens, plural. It's got radar. It's got all the high-tech goodies that you could ever want. And it's also got a pretty hefty price tag. So what the hell happened? How did these trucks get so expensive? And are you really getting your money's worth? Well, today, you and me are gonna find out. First things first, we gotta test what trucks are best at, which is towing. Now, towing has always been pretty straightforward, but here's the thing. This truck takes it a step further, okay? I don't even have to line it up to the hitch. I can just hit this button right here. Press and hold Pro Trailer button to start. What the hell is this? I'm not doing anything. I'm not touching the brakes. I'm not touching the steering wheel. This is one of the weirdest things I've ever been a part of. Alignment complete, connect the trailer. This truck literally just backed itself up to the trailer and I didn't have to do anything. What? Okay, so with it all lined up, kind of. All I should have to do is put this down. That does not really seem like it worked. There we go. All right, and what better to tow than another F-250? All right, that was sketchy. So now with the trailer hooked up, we gotta figure out what else there is. Slippery, off-road, rock crawl. Nope, 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 nope. Tow haul. Can't I just tow with this thing? That's crazy. You literally can't even feel this thing behind you. But I have to test out one more of these gadgets, and that is the automatic trailer. I have to add a name for the trailer before I do this. F-250 on a trailer. What? And now I have to go through a recalibration process. System calibrating, front camera low visibility, clean screen. There's so many things happening. Calibration complete, stop to activate. Okay, well now I've driven so far away from my parking spot that I have to get over. Can I not back up? What do you mean reduce speed? Now this guy's backing up behind me. This is way too much. Detecting trailer, please wait. Where the hell is this thing going? All right, well, it's in a parking space. That took forever. I don't even think that's worth it. Now, here's the main difference between new trucks and old trucks. It's the amount that these things can tow and their payload capacity. This thing can tow 20,000 pounds. That's more than 3 times as much as the Highboy could tow. And this thing does it effortlessly. To be totally honest, I can barely feel the fact that I have a giant F-250 on the back of this thing, which is nuts. Not to mention it's got a fully boxed frame, it's got beefed up suspension, it's got modern brakes on it. Here's the other crazy thing. Only about 7% of truck owners tow on a regular basis. Most people aren't fully maximizing the capabilities of these things. I mean, if you have the opportunity, you gotta try it, right? You gotta hook up the Highboy to this thing and see if it'll do it. No trailer backup assist. Technically, I am on it, just not in the right part on it.
What's up, guys? We wanted to let you know that we are relaunching the Donut Media website with all new merch, new colors, new logo styles. Look at this giant wrench. Look at this giant dog. So make sure you go check it out. All new donut stuff coming to you right now.
I feel like the whole trailer backup assist thing would probably help a lot with this. Somebody also put this too low. Thank you, Mason. I heard the tailgate pop. I don't know what that's about. Now, in good conscience, I cannot go out on the street with this because I will put someone else's life at risk. But I'll go around here. Oh, yeah. Oh, old trucks can't tow as much. Old trucks can't do as much. This whole thing is rattling like crazy. The steering actually does feel better, which is insane. What do you think of that? There is nothing more badass than watching a 58-year-old truck tow its 58-year younger brother on the back of a trailer. They don't make them like they used to. Towing gives you an idea of what these things can do on-road day to day, but going off-road, that's a different story. Back in the day, off-road capability was pretty straightforward. It was leaf springs, solid axles, and ground clearance, and that was your entire off-road package. And as long as nothing on this mechanically failed, you would just keep going down the road. It wasn't exactly comfortable, but it was durable. However, today, everything's computer. And shout out to Gosh Ford Temecula, who gave us this 2026 F-250 Platinum Tremor that literally came out like 2 weeks ago for us to use and film for the week. This is the Tremor package on this F-250, and what that means is this is the most off-roady version of the F-250. It has things like rock crawl mode and trail control, and it's got a rear locker and a front limited slip. It's got all kinds of things that you need for off-road. Here's the thing. These modes, I think, are kind of a gimmick. All it really does is change some of your throttle inputs, steering inputs, and your shift points. And honestly, if you have access to ForceScan, which is Ford's scan tool, you can program it into any one of these vehicles because it's just a bunch of ones and zeros that tells the computer to do something different. So, one thing I do very much like about the interior that I haven't mentioned yet is the column shifter. I can't stand those dials and stuff. Just give me the column shifter, and it does also allow you to shift the gears manually through this if you want to, which is helpful for off-road stuff and towing and a lot of other things. Here's the other thing that we haven't really talked about. How many people are really taking out their $100,000 truck to go off-road? I mean, I don't think the majority of people are. I think the majority of people that have these trucks, they're spending their entire life on the road. I know there's some of you that go out and wheel these things like crazy, but that's like 10 of you. So that's kind of the benefit of having that. You know, if I take that thing off-road and it gets banged up or dented or whatever, I don't care. It can all be replaced. It's simple. It's a culture shift. These trucks went from being rugged workhorses to being big status symbols that get parked outside of Costco on the weekends. So in the brochure, these features look great, but for most buyers, they'll never get used. They're just expensive bragging rights. So are you paying for off-road capability or just the idea of having it? So these trucks are super capable off-road, but where most people spend their time is right here on the road. This whole thing is about as analog as it gets. Totally guessy steering, no idea if it's gonna turn whatsoever. This is not a truck you would or would want to drive on a daily basis. But man, the smell of gasoline and everything rumbling around you, I don't know, you can't beat how good these feel. Holy. I am not in control of where this thing goes. Everything around me is shaking. It's a beast though. I mean, this is a tank. This thing, there's a reason that I'm in 2025 still driving this thing, and it's because it was made to last for forever. But there is a reason that we've come so far from these, and it's because these things are hideously unsafe, not economical at all, and they're just terrifying to drive. In driving this thing, operating it, it still feels like a truck. The steering's pretty heavy, you feel that solid front axle, solid rear axle. The leaf springs are pretty oversprung when you don't have any weight in the bed. But on the inside, you're just sort of covered in this luxurious experience. The seats are super comfortable, they're wide, the back of it's wide. I have a massage seat on the front. And you know, with all this luxury and at a price of $100,000 for this truck, what's the point of even driving this thing yourself? I mean, at this point, can't you just afford a driver of your own? Thank you.
Please, sir.
Thank you.
How is your day going today, Master Deal?
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's hit the road.
Master Deal, shall I take you to the Chinese buffet?
That'd be delightful. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
It's an appropriate place for this truck and a meal fit for a king.
Sir?
Sir.
Sir, I must tell you that I hate my life, sir.
Why, boy? So, driver, what are your thoughts on this vehicle?
This fine automobile drives like a very large and heavy truck.
Anything else?
It's very big. It's fucking huge. I feel like I'm about to like hit every car on the side of the road.
Well, Tristan, one big thing about these trucks is they're quite long. So if you wouldn't mind just parallel parking over here to let me out.
Of course. Shouldn't be a problem at all.
Pretty civil.
Oh, whoa!
360 cameras, backup camera. This guy almost hitting you.
Yep. I don't even know what to look at. There's so many things to look at. You like the beat? All right, there you go.
Wow, I'm impressed. Let's see how far you are away from the curb. About 2 feet.
All right, I can do it again. I can do it again.
No, you don't have to do it again.
right,
I want you to try something else.
All right.
It's just no wonder that people used to have, you know, a truck and then they had a sedan for like all their daily activities.
Yeah.
And this was just meant to run to.
Oh no, you like trying to take someone on a date in this thing? Hold up. Let me see if I can. Oh, there we go. That's a downshift.
That was good.
I kind of do want to put the seatbelt on, I'm not going to lie. I know that it's just going to hinge my face into the steering wheel.
This is all the seatbelt we have. It's just
Yeah.
a lap belt.
This is probably the worst steering I've ever experienced in anything I've ever driven.
This is what
Ever.
I meant. That solid axles have come a long way.
There's like a full rotation before I can even make a. This steering ain't fun, man.
Tristan just almost hit that curve.
All right, should we try and parallel park this thing?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. All right, let's get the traffic out from behind us. I think this is reverse.
You gotta use some speed to get in here because you got power steering.
Damn.
Yep.
I think the bed just like flexed so much.
Just go straight over these cones.
I need to go to the gym, dog.
If there were any cars over here, you'd be so high in insurance costs right now.
All right, we're here.
You feel that's good?
I feel that's good.
Okay.
Forgot to take my lap belt off.
So we've learned that technology makes our lives way easier and sometimes way harder. But regardless, it comes at a cost. And these manufacturers, they spend a lot of time making these truck configurators so that when you get on and you start building your perfect truck, you just get sort of roped into spending more and more. And mon ami, you have to get the Platinum Plus package with the chrome and the satin door handles and the upgraded leather. It even feeds you an Uncrustable sometimes. Brother, if you're going down to Daytona, you better get that high output engine. You gonna need that sucker. See, this is how it happens. This is exactly how it happens. See, they know you've invested into buying a truck already, and you're not gonna abandon your strategy anytime soon, and you're gonna keep sinking and sinking and sinking more cost into more expensive packages. Because look, if you're gonna buy an $80,000 truck, then what's $85,000? If you're gonna buy $85,000, then why not tack on the extra $4,000 just for that winch package that you want? And you know what I think it is? I think it's the fiddler. And you're like a giant Amazon warehouse, and he's inside of you. And he's fiddling and messing with things and stacking boxes constantly and fiddling you. Always fiddling with your psyche, making you different. He's a parasite, and we need him out. The tech is incredible, the luxury is undeniable, but the utility of it is often optional and it's expensive. But luckily, we do still have some affordable options. May I present to you the Maverick? This is the Ford Maverick, a brand new truck that you can drive off the lot for less than $30,000. Truck guys love to hate it. They say this thing is too small, it's not a real truck. But here's the thing, this thing will do a lot less duty than the Super Duty. You know, it's got a 1,500 pound payload, it's got 4,000 pounds worth of towing capacity. But for most people, this is all the truck they would ever need. And especially if you're looking for a truck in the city, this thing might be it, because it gets over 30 miles to the gallon, super efficient. So if you need to tow a yacht, sure, get the Super Duty. But if you're just rearranging some furniture or just taking your dog to the park for a walk, this is it. But the reason I pulled this thing out is because I wanted to prove that a truck doesn't have to be huge or super expensive to be useful. These things are great. You could tow your little Miata down to a track day with one of these. Like, you can do a lot of stuff with this. But here's the thing, buying the truck is only half the story. Because once you own one, that's when the real costs really start. Thank God though, these old trucks were pretty simple. You could fix everything on a weekend with a socket set. And if you blow your engine, $500 jet boat engine fits right in here. Holy hell. This thing takes 15 quarts of oil when you do an oil change, and it's $350 at the dealer. And here's the thing, doing any of your own maintenance on this thing, it'll immediately void your warranty. So you're better off taking it to the dealer. Now, emissions equipment is something you might not think about when you buy one of these new diesel trucks these days, but the DEF system, diesel exhaust fluid system, is basically a tank that's in your truck that contains water and urea. And that actually gets sprayed into your exhaust and helps clean up everything that comes out of your tailpipe. You have to have these. These are required by the federal government. Seems pretty simple, right? It's good for the environment, but here's the problem. See, if you get a faulty sensor or a dirty injector in your DEF system or something like that, it'll throw this truck into limp mode. Now, this engine actually does not need the DEF system for the engine to run appropriately, but since it's programmed into the ECU, it'll make this truck only run at 5 miles an hour until the DEF system is fixed. And this system is not simple. Look, the DEF system actually needs its own heating element so that it can heat the DEF tank, because the DEF tank has water in it and that can freeze in colder temperatures. Not only that, but all the routing for that DEF system is through the exhaust system, and that's very complicated. And if something goes wrong in there, you might actually have to have the entire cab of the truck lifted off of the frame to fix it. You're not doing that in your backyard. And that speaks to a larger issue with these trucks. With a truck like the Highboy, you could do 90% of your own repairs in your driveway on your own time. And if you live in the heart of rural America, that sort of simplicity is key. With these new trucks, you're almost always forced into dealer repairs because the house always wins. And it's not just repairs, of course, there's registration costs, insurance costs, and even your interest rate on your loan. Take 5% interest rate on a $100,000 truck loan, and over the course of time, you're essentially paying for a brand new Ford Maverick just in interest alone. And these eat into family budgets, all these costs that add up. And that brings us to the big picture, the money. Back in the mid-2000s, the average new truck price was around $28,000, whereas nowadays it's nearly $60,000. That's more than double. So why are trucks so expensive? Because it's not just inflation. It's because the entire auto industry redesigned themselves around trucks. Here's the deal. Trucks play by a completely different rule book than cars do. Trucks fall under much looser emission standards than passenger cars. And automakers figured this out decades ago. Why do you think Ford killed every sedan in their lineup? And the bet paid off because trucks and SUVs now make up 80% of automaker profits. They're actually cheaper to build per pound than cars are, and they sold for higher markups. And here's where we get hooked, because we get lured in with base model pricing. But it's so stripped down that it leaves us wanting more. And if we're gonna spend that much money, we might as well spend a little more to get what we really want. It's like getting popcorn at the movie theater. You know, the small is so tiny, and then the medium is not much cheaper than the large, and so we just get the large and we're happy. Every size tastes the same. And it's the same thing with trucks. I mean, remember that brand new Land Cruiser that we had? That $65,000 base model interior, it felt pretty bare bones, and you start thinking to yourself, well, for a couple $1,000s more, it's only a couple bucks more on my monthly payment every month, and I can get some nicer features in here. And that starts to add up. Remember earlier when we talked about trucks going into that more luxury territory? Well, yeah, of course, because they're no longer tools, they're lifestyle products, all these luxury add-ons and tech packages and all that stuff, and prices keep climbing. You know why? Because we're willing to pay for the large. And I've said it a million times now, these aren't tools anymore. That's all I want. Build me a tool again, not a mansion on wheels. Give me something that's rough and rugged. It doesn't leave me wishing I had the capacities of this thing and make a compromise on something that's got 1/10 of the capabilities that does. Give me the tool back. That's what we really want. I guess I'll see you next time when we complain to auto manufacturers again. Bye.